Got a minute? And when I say a minute, I'm actually talking a few minutes. Listen, I want to respond to a question that I recently received, and I appreciate the question from a 20-something-year-old. Was asking me some questions about life trials and why you got to go through trials and what do you do with them. Well, let me begin by framing my response this way. First and foremost, everybody has trials. I find it interesting that we actually identify struggles or adversity or conflict or trouble as a quote unquote trial. Because in a lot of ways, it's like being on trial. And that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing because it all depends on whether you are vindicated or if you're found guilty. Being on trial is not fun, I got to tell you. Sitting in a courtroom, whether you're a plaintiff or whether you're the defendant, you're going to be one side or the other. Either, but in most cases, when you are experiencing a trial and you're in a tough spot in your life, you know, we have these terms and these phrases. We say between a rock and a hard place, which is an oxymoron because they're both a hard place and they're both a tight fit, a place where nobody wants to be. And to be honest with you, a lot of times God has to allow you to keep returning to a particular circumstance or a type of a circumstance until you learn your lesson. Because some of the lessons to be learned isn't really the circumstance or the people or the dynamics of the things that you think you can write an essay on or report after the fact and say, God, I learned and I promise not to do that again. Well, listen, everybody's promised God not to do something again, and we basically lying through our gums because we are going to do it again because that's just who we are and how we're built. We just don't keep our word. And quite frankly, we have such short memories. We go through traumatic circumstances and situations, maybe times of grieving, times of loss or trauma. And it's interesting how over a course of time, we kind of forget the seriousness of the moment. So we end up back in other situations like that. And I'm not trying to make light of any of your circumstances or your trials or your current situation that you might be going through. And you might be saying, hey, Egypt, you trivializing my situation a little bit too much. I got to tell you, one of the first things that we really have to learn to endure a trial, because endurance is a big deal. It's not enough to just get through something, because you can get through something and not really have learned much at all. But one of the first things you really need to learn is to jettison your attitude, jettison your feelings. Because when you're so tapped into your feelings that you have to feel good about, the outcome, you got to feel good about how the other side or other people or the source of your conflict or the source of your pain is, are they genuine? Are they truly humble? Are they really sorry? You've asked yourself the same questions I've asked. We've all been through that before. And guess what? You're going to go through a lot more of that. But what ends up happening is over the course of time, as you learn and you experience, prayerfully, you're becoming more humble. I got to wonder what your brand of leadership looks like without humility. It is a mathematical equation. Just think about it for a second. Leadership minus humility equals, what do you see in your mind? What would you draw on a whiteboard? What image would you pull up on your internet search? Your answer should tell you a whole lot about what kind of person you are right now. You see, because it's real easy to say, I have created this image or this attitude or this worldview of a particular person that I can't stand. I hate him to the core. And eventually someone comes along and says, why do you hate him to the core? Give me the top 3 substantial, corroborated, factual, evidentiary, irrefutable facts that lead you to believe that you are justified in hating that person to the core for those specific reasons. And most times, if not 10 out of 10 times, you can't even come up with one reason, let alone 3, let alone 5 or 10. The point I'm trying to make is simple. We have to get to the place where to endure a trial, we're equipped to learn along the way. Sometimes that's journaling, but I can tell you all the time it's praying. And I'm not talking about praying just to getting over one hump or one goal or one mission. It is praying through the process and praying that you actually learn and retain and remember. Learn, retain, remember. You got that? Learn, retain, remember what you're dealing with. The other thing is learning how to forgive. Forgiving really doesn't mean that you endorse or you support or promote another person's injustice or their wickedness or their evil or their slander, their backbiting, their backstabbing, their crime, their offense against you. Not in any way. But it does mean you're willing to surgically sever the rope for which they had around your neck because you're the only one incensing about that thing that they did to you. And maybe that's how you got into your trial. Maybe some of you are in a trial by way of default. It just happened to you. It didn't ask for permission. It just showed up in your life and now you have to deal with it. And I'm sorry if that's the case. But that too is often common to every single man and woman on planet Earth. Doesn't matter who you are, what you understand, what your opinion is, what your politics is, what your cultural structure or understanding is, how smart you think you are, or how dumb you think you are. Just stop. Stop for a minute and really thank God that you're alive today. You know, the air in your lungs right now, right this moment, is on loan from God to you. You didn't manufacture the air. You didn't even manufacture your next heartbeat. That's not because you made it be. It's because your Creator has a purpose for you. So I know there's a lot of people who won't see this video, and that's okay. There are some who will. That's okay too. But the intent is to encourage you through your trial that you're not alone. You will endure because you have to. And I got to tell you, if you don't, it's kind of messed up because you may be doing a roundabout in that drive-through and you may be right back there again tomorrow. And that's not a good place to be. It's not encouraging. But I want to encourage you in knowing this. There is hope for you. You will make it, not because you white knuckle it and grit your way through and just pound your way and beat up things. No, but because there is hope in Christ. Whoo, I said that out loud. You're dropping the religious bombs on me, man. That's not cool. Oh, stop. Christ is hope. He's the author of it. He did for me what I couldn't do for myself. And I know he can do for you what you can't do for yourself if you trust him. So that's it. Why don't you do me a favor and subscribe? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. This is only part 1 of a multifaceted series of questions around trials and life struggles and issues and problems. And I hope to address them, all of them, as long as I have breath in my lungs and I'm able to do so. You stay encouraged. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.